Unexpected dance champ, revealed Black Maid's incredible talent changed a millionaire's heart forever. The town buzzed with chatter about the charity gala fast approaching. It would be the talk of the town, but beneath the glitz and glam, the air was thick with an unspoken division. Clara, a hardworking African-American maid, trudged home after a grueling day. Sweat clung to her brow as she juggled multiple jobs, her heart heavy with thoughts of her 3 young children. They were her world, and her love for them burned hotter than her exhaustion. But when the shadows fell and her babies dreamt sweetly, another side of Clara emerged, the dancer. In the quiet of their dim living room, she transformed. Her bare feet grazed the worn carpet as she moved gracefully, pouring years of sweat and sacrifice into every pirouette. The joy of dance lit her soul, if only for those fleeting moments. To the outside world, she was just a maid, but in the sanctuary of her home, she was a queen. A few streets away, the affluent Marcus, a millionaire businessman, carried the weight of a life filled with severity. His grand house loomed like a fortress, yet he felt constant disconnection from the vibrant pulse of his community. Wealth didn't fill the void, rather, it exacerbated it. He was a man of success, yes, but that meant little in a world begging for truth and understanding. As Clara prepared for the annual gala, the park became a stage during a charity event. She toiled under the sun, collecting donations, when out of nowhere, Emma, Marcus's spirited teenage daughter, stumbled upon her dance, effortlessly ethereal. Emma was captivated by Clara's grace, her heart swelling with admiration. With a fire ignited, she rushed home, bursting with excitement. "Dad," she pleaded, "we have to sponsor a community dance competition. Clara deserves to be seen." Marcus was conflicted. He admired his daughter's enthusiasm, but a nagging discomfort gripped him. Could he truly bridge the gap? He pushed those thoughts aside as they worked together, fostering a spark of hope in the community's heart. Just then, the unyielding phone chirped with notifications. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Clara felt bubbles of anticipation brewing as competition day approached. With each passing moment, the neighborhoods bristled with energy, but insecurities tugged at the back of her heart. Could she truly step onto Marcus's polished stage? The day arrived. Underneath the gleam of lights, Clara's heart thumped in time with the murmurs of the crowd. She stood on that stage, a whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. As the music ignited, she danced not just for herself, but as a testament to her struggle, her resilience, and undying love for her children. Each movement was interwoven with the raw thread of her life. The audience erupted, clapping, tears glimmering in eyes unaccustomed to such beauty. But for Marcus, the realization struck hard. Clara's performance was a mirror reflecting his wealth's hollowness. In that intense silence between them, a connection sparked raw, unfiltered. What lay ahead? Would he take this chance to rediscover humanity, or would he remain lost, a prisoner to his privilege? The crowd waited on the precipice of change, hearts racing, mouths agape, wondering, would Clara's dance open doors? As the final note of Clara's dance hung in the air, a hushed silence washed over the crowd. Her heart raced, and she stood still, absorbing the reactions sweeping across the audience. The clapping grew louder, transforming into a standing ovation. For a heartbeat, her world shrank down to that stage, yet it felt like the universe expanded around her. Marcus, also frozen in time, witnessed this moment with new clarity. He felt emotions grumbling within him like a storm ready to break. The authenticity of Clara's performance shifted something deep inside. He had always viewed success through the lens of wealth and status, but standing there amidst the applause, he realized that true richness came from passion and love, the very qualities Clara embodied. Emma joined the crowd in their cheers, her youthful spirit radiating joy. Did you see that, Dad? She exclaimed, turning to him. Isn't she amazing? He nodded, but he struggled to find words. How could he explain to his daughter that Clara's triumph felt both uplifting and gut-wrenching? While they celebrated Clara, he felt the weight of their social divide, magnified by the brilliance of her artistry. His mind raced ahead. Could he truly support her future without the shadows of his privilege clouding the light she so beautifully radiated? Meanwhile, Clara stepped off the stage, the audience's energy still swirling around her. As she approached her children, her heart sang with pride. But another feeling crept in, the fear that the applause would fade. The reality of her life loomed. She still had bills to pay and mouths to feed. What good was all this if it didn't change anything for her family? Mommy. Her youngest, a bright-eyed little girl named Lily, ran into her arms. You were so pretty. Like a princess. Clara smiled through her tears. Thank you, baby. You're my princess, she whispered, tightening her embrace with a mother's love, but as Clara looked back toward the stage area, she spotted Marcus watching them from a distance, a mix of admiration and something else in his eyes. The tenderness in his gaze ignited a flicker of hope in Clara's heart. Could something genuine blossom from this unlikely connection? Clara. Emma's voice broke through the crowd, bubbling with excitement. Will you come to our house for dinner? I want to show you my dance moves, too. Clara hesitated. The idea of sharing her home with the wealthy was daunting, but the kindness in Emma's invitation struck a chord. A bridge of connection momentarily distracted her from the ever-present fear of judgment. With cautious optimism, she nodded, sure, I'd love to. As they walked toward the parking lot, Clara felt the weight of unseen eyes on her. The reality of what had just happened settled in. This moment was a spark, but would it ignite real change in their lives? Would Marcus view her as more than a maid, and would she ever truly belong in a world so unfamiliar? Marcus's mind swirled with the weight of his own decisions. How could he respond to the powerful force of empathy Clara's dance awakened in him? The night would stretch before him, filled with questions that had no easy answers. But deep down, both Marcus and Clara knew one thing: the time for change was ripe. Tonight was not an end, but perhaps a beginning. What would the morning bring? Would Clara's brave step onto the stage echo through their lives, or would they drift back into silence? A whirlwind of emotions hung between them, charged with a question that loomed larger than any crowd: what happens when the walls built around their lives begin to crumble? Clara settled into the back of Marcus's plush SUV, her heart still racing from the performance. Lily nestled next to her, tired but brimming with joy. Emma sat in the front with Marcus, chatting animatedly about dance steps and what her friends would say at school. Clara's mind drifted, bouncing between the warmth of their kindness and the chill of her reality. The drive felt surreal. The streetlights slipped by like a backdrop in a movie, illuminating faces that all seemed so far removed from her world. She glanced at Marcus through the rearview mirror. He caught her gaze, and in that split second, something unspoken passed between them, an acknowledgement that this night held more than just a dance performance. Your dance was just incredible, Clara, Marcus said, breaking the silence. His voice was warm and sincere, but Clara felt a shadow of uncertainty. I reckon it takes courage to pour your soul out on stage like that. Courage. It was a word she had tucked away in the folds of her ambitions. Thank you, Marcus. Her voice trembled slightly. I don't know if it was enough. Lily settled her head against Clara's shoulder, and Clara wrapped an arm around her. That simple connection felt grounding, yet she couldn't shake the feeling that these moments would soon vanish, leaving her back in the grind of obligations. At the same time, there was a flutter of hope. As they pulled into Marcus's driveway, Clara caught sight of his grand home, its grandeur practically smothering her with stark contrast. She took a deep breath. They all filed out, laughter bubbling as Emma led the way to the front door. Clara hesitated for just a moment, feeling somehow unworthy. But she quickly pushed it aside. She had come too far to retreat. Inside, the decor dazzled with expensive art and plush furnishings, yet it felt strangely inviting. Emma led Clara to the living room, where she pulled out a Bluetooth speaker. "Let us dance," she shouted, grinning ear to ear. Clara laughed, her spirits lifting. Watching Emma bounce around with unfiltered joy was infectious. "All right, I'll show you a little something," Clara responded, feeling her confidence swell. As she moved, the music painted a canvas and took her back to simpler times when dance was pure pleasure, not just survival. Marcus watched, a smile creeping on his face. Clara's movements were enchanting, her spirit alive against the backdrop of opulent surroundings. The room filled with music and laughter, and for that moment, the lines of their lives seemed to blur, creating a shared space where class differences faded. But in the quiet moments after, as they sat around the dining table piled high with food, Clara's thoughts began to spiral. Would this be a night remembered fondly or a moment that would slip like water through her fingers? They were sharing stories of dreams and aspirations, but what would happen when reality crept back in? Marcus was kind, but would he still be after dinner was over? "Clara," Marcus asked suddenly, pulling her from her thoughts. "What do you want to do with your dancing? What's your dream?" The question caught her off guard, layers of vulnerability peeling back. She hesitated, weighing her ambitions against the fear of exposing her dreams to disappointment. After a long pause, her heart raced as she whispered, "I want to dance on more stages like tonight. I want to share my story, my passion, and maybe change lives." She could feel the weight of their gazes on her, a mixture of intrigue and admiration. But what if they only saw a maid? Or worse, a mountain they couldn't bother to climb? Clara's heart thudded against her chest. As silence enveloped the table, a question hung in the air like the last note of her performance: could sharing her dreams forge a deeper connection with Marcus? Or would the light of that night dim with the dawn? The night rested heavy with unspoken possibilities as Clara wrestled with the thought: what happens when dreams collide with reality? Clara's heart raced as the silence stretched on. She could feel the dining room's warmth fading into chill, a stark reminder of her own insecurities. But before she could spiral into her thoughts again, Emma filled the space with an enthusiastic quip about their next school dance. "Can you believe it? We'll need to come up with a routine." Emma clapped her hands together. "Clara, you should totally help us. We can film it, and I can show my friends." Lily's eyes sparkled at the idea. "Yeah. We can be the best dancers ever." Marcus nodded, his smile returning as he leaned back in his chair. "That sounds like fun. Maybe you can be our choreographer, Clara. Teach them how to really dance." The spotlight shifted away from her, the tension breaking slightly, but Clara felt unprepared for the role of a mentor. Could she really? With every ounce of doubt, Marcus's words still lingered in her mind, challenging her to step beyond her own limitations. "Maybe," Clara replied, swallowing the lump forming in her throat. She looked at their eager faces, and just for that moment, hope flickered again. Dancing could be a part of something larger, a bridge between worlds. Just then, Marcus's phone buzzed on the table. He checked it, his brow furrowing slightly. "I'm sorry," he said, "I have to take this. It's important." As he stepped away, Clara caught Emma and Lily exchanging warm glances filled with excitement. They leaned closer, conspiratorially. "Do you think he likes you?" Emma teased, nudging Lily with her elbow. Lily giggled, her cheeks flushed. "He totally does. Did you see how he looked at you while you danced?" Clara's face warmed as she deflected their comments with a laugh. "No way. That's crazy talk." But their playful banter soothed her, wrapping her in light-heartedness, if just for a moment. Maybe this was what support felt like, allowing herself to be vulnerable in a warm glow instead of facing the darkness alone. When Marcus returned, his expression was more serious. "Sorry about that. Just needed to handle something." He glanced at Clara, his eyes searching hers. "Look, I don't want to pry, but I can't help but wonder what got you so lost in thought a minute ago." You've got this fire in you. I think everyone here sees it. Feeling the pressure of his gaze, Clara held her breath. The walls pulled tight around her heart, the walls she built to protect herself from judgment. But there was also a faint whisper urging her to break through. What if she let him in a little? I guess I'm just afraid that I can't take this leap, she finally admitted. What if I fail? What if I'm just some dreamer with no future? Marcus leaned forward, the corners of his lips lifting gently. But what if you succeed? What if you inspire someone along the way? Clara, you lit up that stage tonight, and it wasn't because of the spotlight or the venue. It was you, pouring your heart out. You belong up there. His words resonated deeply within her. Feeling buoyed but still trembling on the edge of possibility, she nodded slowly, then cast her eyes down. You really think so? I know so, he replied, unwavering in his encouragement. The room buzzed with laughter around them as Clara sat silently contemplating the weight of his faith in her. There was something different about Marcus, a lightness, a shared understanding that chipped away at her fears. But as the evening wore on, she couldn't shake the feeling of time running short. Did he know the gravity of his words? Clara feared the sun would rise and reveal all her insecurities once again. As the night began to settle, they all moved into the living room. Emma cranked up the music again, urging everyone to dance. Clara stood back, the music flowing around her. To jump in again felt both thrilling and terrifying. She could hear Marcus call out to her, his warm voice cutting through the laughter. Clara! Come on! Dance with us! But as Clara took a deep breath, she felt a wave of uncertainty crash over her. What would it truly take to embrace the light? Could she step into it without fear? Just as she gathered the courage to join them, something shifted in the atmosphere. The comforting warmth of the room thickened, and for a brief second, Clara felt a pull from outside, like a haunting shadow threatening to disrupt this perfect moment. What was lurking out there? And would it come crashing down on her newfound hope? Clara's heart pounded as shadows stretched across the room like fingers reaching for her. She felt a chill, a primal instinct telling her to stay safe, to hide. But Marcus's call echoed like a lifeline. She took a step back, then another, until the music swirled around her like an invisible tide. Clara! Don't be shy. Emma urged, a dazzling grin on her face, beckoning with exaggerated gestures. The others giggled, and even though their enthusiasm wrapped around her like a warm blanket, doubt gnawed at Clara's core. Dancing had once been her entire world. But with each step toward the floor, reminders of past failures flooded her, the lost competitions, the missed opportunities. Her palms grew clammy as images of judgment filled her mind. Would they see her as an imposter? Come on. Marcus's voice was more encouraging now, slicing through her thoughts. It's just dancing. No right or wrong. His words hung in the air, inviting yet daunting. Inspired by the determination in his eyes, Clara's feet inched closer to the group, but fear anchored her to the spot. She could almost hear her heart whispering, "Do it," then, a loud knock interrupted the moment. The cheerful atmosphere tensed, everyone turning to the door. Clara's pulse quickened, anxiety spiraling as she glanced at Marcus. He looked concerned. Who could that be? Emma whispered, her playful tone quickly replaced with uncertainty. Maybe it's just a neighbor, Clara suggested, though her mind raced with darker possibilities. We should check it out, Lily offered, her voice wavering slightly. Marcus nodded. I'll get it. He walked toward the door, his presence steadying. Clara watched, her stomach knotting tighter with each step he took. The moment felt surreal, as if time had slowed, the warmth of the room contrasting with the cold anticipation hanging in the air. As Marcus opened the door, Clara held her breath. Two figures filled the doorway, silhouetted against the light. The first was familiar James, Clara's bitter ex, known for his cutthroat critiques and icy demeanor. Beside him stood a girl Clara barely recognized, an aura of confidence surrounding her like a shield. What do you want? Marcus's voice was firm, but Clara felt the chill creep closer as she stepped back. She couldn't face James here. Not now. Just came by to say hi, James said, a cockiness in his smile. Heard some friends were hosting a party and thought we'd check it out. Perfect timing, huh? The girl next to him added, eyeing the packed living room with a shrug. Looks like you're having a dance party. Bet you wish you'd have invited the right people. A wave of mockery washed over Clara. Her mind spun. Here was the powerful reminder of everything she used to be. Playful laughter dulled to background noise as the laughter of her friends faded, overshadowed by the palpable tension. What was she supposed to do now? Would they laugh at her if she danced? Would James say something cruel? Before she could think, Emma piped up, "Hey Clara. How about you show everyone that routine we practiced?" Clara's heart sank. But Marcus stepped forward, his gaze unwavering against the weight of James's presence. Clara's an amazing dancer. You guys should join us instead of standing there like statues. James's smirk faltered. Clara watched as sparks of disbelief danced in his eyes, rippling under the surface of his bravado. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. This was her moment, not just to dance but to reclaim herself. The flicker of courage ignited once more, pushing through the shadows. Gathering every ounce of resolve, she stepped forward. "You know, I'll show you all what I can do." The room hushed, and Clara's breath steadied as she swayed to the music, the beat pouring into her veins like a lifeline. Her friends watched, eyes wide with support, acceptance flooding back as she found the first strains of her rhythm, but just as she began to lose herself in movement, Clara felt James's eyes boring into her, a reminder of criticism she had fought so hard to escape. Could she truly do this? And as she danced, she didn't realize the emotions swirling around the room. Was she ready to confront her past, to shine in the way Marcus saw her, despite James being so close? In that moment, she faced her fears, but her destiny's next turn hung just over the horizon, waiting to unfold. Would James shatter her fragile confidence once more? As Clara danced, she felt a ripple of uncertainty. The shadows were not just from outside. They were memories, fears that held tight, gnawing at her determination. What would happen when the music stopped, and the reality set in? What was waiting in that dance, and would she find the strength to embrace it? Clara let the rhythm into her veins, her body moving with a will of its own. For the first time in a long time, her heart raced not from fear, but from exhilaration. Each twist and turn ignited a spark of defiance against the shadows that taunted her, not just James, but the memories that whispered through her mind, urging her to turn back. She danced, pouring her heart into every step, feeling the warmth of her friends' support her. As she twirled and leapt across the floor, the light caught her skin, glimmering with possibility. Her feet moved quicker, driven by adrenaline, but James's piercing stare reminded her of all the failures he had ever pointed out. With every spin, doubts tried to claw their way back, asking if she was truly worthy of this moment. Ignoring them felt like climbing the highest mountain. "Go, Clara!" Emma cheered, her voice cutting through Clara's thoughts. Clara caught Marcus's encouraging smile, and that fueled her even more. It was as if the music wrapped around her, lifting her up higher than she could have imagined, drowning out the noise of James and his judgments. But just as Clara felt buoyed by her friend's excitement and the beat, James stepped forward. "Seriously, you think this is good? You're just flailing around." His words sliced through the air, harsh and biting. Shockwaves scattered through the room. The laughter died down, eyes darted uncomfortably between Clara and James, the hurt burned in her chest, inflating her insecurities, but Clara did not falter. Deep breaths steadied her racing heart. She froze for a moment, hands clenched, battling with the voice that told her to quit. Instead of surrendering, she summoned every ounce of strength to respond. "You have no idea what I can do." She shot back, voice strong and confident, almost surprising herself. The room fell silent, caught between tension and surprise, their eyes bouncing between Clara and James, who looked abruptly taken aback. This isn't about you, James. Today is about freedom. It's about being happy. Clara continued, feeling emboldened. An unexpected hush pulsed in the atmosphere, but then she heard soft murmurs of admiration from her friends. That's right. Lily called out. Show him, Clara. With each powerful note, she returned to her dance, determined to reclaim her moment, to shine in spite of James. Clara glided, jumping higher, twisting with fierce grace. In her mind, she could see everything that had held her back slowly evaporating behind her like smoke. James watched, eyes narrowing as Clara poured out years of hard work and unfulfilled dreams on the floor. The room seemed to swell with energy, the music wrapping around everyone, echoing with Clara's determination. Even the shadows began to pale before her defiance. When she finished, breathless and exhilarated, the silence rang heavy. Then, unexpectedly, the room erupted into applause, excitement bubbling like a well-kept secret spilling over. Clara blinked, momentarily stunned, her cheeks flushing with emotion. Her friends cheered, Marcus beaming with pride, as everyone else seemed to join in, celebrating her vibrancy and vivacity. But James stood there, face unreadable. Clara's chest tightened. Would he tear her down again, or could he finally quiet his contempt? Nice moves, but you think that's going to change anything here? His tone dripped with condescension, the smile he tried to project failing to reach his cold eyes. Clara's hope flickered, uncertainty seeping in once more. Did this moment truly shift anything? Would those shadows continue to haunt her? As she gazed at James, a wild resolve ignited within. She was not just dancing for him, she was dancing for herself. And with that realization, the music began again, each note reviving not just the celebration but a deeper clarity within Clara. What would the next step hold? Could she truly confront James and rise above the doubts that had long crippled her? The music pulsed, the night was alive with raw emotions, and Clara stood on the edge of transformation. She could feel it. But as the bass dropped, another knock echoed from the door. The atmosphere shifted once again. Who else could possibly be joining this night of reckoning? Clara's heart raced, a new wave of anticipation washing over her. Would the next visitor strengthen her resolve or further challenge her newfound confidence? The knock echoed again, this time sharper, more urgent. Clara hesitated, her heart pounding in rhythm with the bass thumping through the walls. Just when she thought she'd found her rhythm, something new pulled her back into uncertainty. Marcus stepped toward the door, eyes wide with curiosity. Should I get it? He asked, glancing back at Clara, who nodded, a mix of excitement and dread churning in her stomach. He opened the door just a crack, peering into the dim hallway. A figure stood just beyond the threshold, shrouded in shadows. Clara couldn't see their face, but she could feel a presence thick with anticipation and mystery, almost like a gust of cool wind swirling into the heated room. The music swelled and contrasted with the silence in the air. As Marcus swung the door wide, Clara's breath caught. There stood an older woman, her hair striking silver under the flickering lights. She wore a vibrant dress, flowing and alive, and the moment she stepped into the room, it was as if the atmosphere transformed, the music danced through the air, pulling everyone into its embrace. Hello, everyone. Sorry to interrupt, her voice rang clear, filled with warmth. I couldn't help but hear the incredible music from down the hall. Clara's eyes widened in disbelief. Was she dreaming? Who was this woman, and how did she seem to hold such power just by entering? Come join us. Lily exclaimed, her face brightening at the unexpected guest. The others seemed to share the same excitement, the tension from moments ago dissipating like steam. Without hesitation, the woman began to sway to the music, her feet floating over the dance floor. Clara watched, captivated. There was something familiar in her movements, each gesture felt like a story waiting to be told. The guests joined in, twirling and laughing as the woman seemed to translate the rhythm into something altogether magical. The worries from earlier faded like distant echoes. Who are you? Clara asked, stepping closer, entranced by the woman's energy. I'm an old friend of the rhythm, dear, she replied with a twinkle in her eye. I've danced through many lives and shared moments filled with joy. The room seemed to shift, light brightening, drawing everyone in. Clara felt her heart swell again, resonating with the woman's spirit. Can you teach me? Clara asked suddenly, her voice uncertain yet filled with hope. Of course, but remember dancing isn't just about the steps, the woman replied, her gaze piercing yet kind. It's about embracing who you are above all. With those words, she motioned for Clara to join her. Clara hesitated, then stepped into the circle, compelled by the woman's warmth and wisdom. The music morphed into a vibrant tapestry filled with complex emotions. As they danced together, Clara felt the world fade away. Each step carried her deeper into confidence, each turn a revelation of self. She felt the shadows of James, the doubts, the insecurities thinning out with each beat. She was shedding layers of hesitation, reclaiming space that had long belonged to her. The laughter and cheer of friends surrounded her, rooting her on. And then, as her moves became bolder, Clara caught a glimpse of James. His expression was unreadable, yet she sensed an unusual shift in the air. Maybe you can learn something after all, huh? He muttered, just loud enough for Clara to hear, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. Their eyes locked for a brief moment, and something cracked in the wall he'd built around himself. Was it acknowledgement? Buried admiration? Suddenly, the music reached a peak, and the woman pulled Clara in for a twirl. As they spun, everything seemed to ignite, the world wrapped tighter around her, and Clara felt all of her insecurities evaporate into the melody. But just as she thought she was standing on solid ground, the unexpected guest turned to her, her expression shifting to one of concern. Sometimes, the dance isn't just about the steps. Just wait. Before Clara could process her words, a thunderous crash echoed behind them, turning the laughter into gasps. All heads turned toward the door again. What now? Who could possibly disrupt this moment? And what did it mean for her growth, the people around her, and for James? Clara held her breath, standing at the edge of revelation once more, waiting for the outcome. The night of expression was far from over, but what would emerge from the darkness? The door swung open with a force that nearly knocked Marcus back. Clara's heart raced, the beat matching the frantic drum of the music as all eyes shifted toward the hallway. A tall figure stood illuminated against the dimness, a young man with a wild mane of curly hair and piercing eyes that seemed to catch the room's light like shards of glass. Sorry. Is this the party? He asked, his tone a blend of nervousness and eagerness. A slip of paper crumbled in his hand, a reminder of the invitation he'd likely just found. Looks like it. Lily chimed, stepping forward to usher him in. She glanced around the room, smiling as she added, "We've got enough energy for everyone here." Marcus stepped aside, still dazed by the sudden appearance, while Clara stood frozen. The new arrival radiated an unyielding passion, enough to rip open the veil of tension swirling around them. He moved with a grace that was almost reminiscent of the woman who'd just taught Clara to dance but held a raw edge that felt electrifying. As he entered, the silver-haired woman's eyes sparkled, her smile widening. "And what's your name?" "Jace," he said, his cheeks flushed. "I just moved in down the hall. I heard the music. Thought I'd check it out." "Glad you did, Jace. Come join us." She beckoned, pulling him into the joyful chaos. Clara's heart skipped a beat as Jace began to sway. The music thumped, and Clara felt a magnetic pull to him. It was like watching a flame flicker, drawing her closer simply with its brilliance. The rhythm flowed through her veins, igniting something raw and frantic within. She stepped back from the circle, watching. Jace's movements were expressive, each shift and turn reflecting a playful confidence that made her envy stir. Clara longed to find that same fire for herself. But what if she stumbled? What if the moment slipped away before she could truly grasp it? Suddenly, the tension snapped like a taut string. Jace twirled into the center of the room, spinning with an impressive pirouette that drew cheers and laughter. The older woman, still swaying with ease, looked at Clara, her expression deepening with an invitation to step forward. "Join him, Clara," she urged, her eyes glinting like stars. "The dance is only complete when you embrace the light." Clara swallowed hard, uncertainty clawing at her insides. Just moments ago, she had felt untethered. Now, she wasn't sure if it was her heart or the music that was pulling her apart. Jace exuded light, and yet she felt shadows creeping back, the darned insecurities flirting at the edges of her consciousness. What if she seemed foolish? What if she embarrassed herself? "Clara!" Jace called, breaking through her wavering thoughts. "Come on. Dance with me." His smile was genuine. She caught a glimpse of unfiltered joy, and before she could second-guess herself, she took a step forward. The music swelled, wrapping around her like a warm embrace, and suddenly she was there with him, ready to claim her part of the dance. They moved together, old fears melting away as their laughter intertwined. But just as Clara began to feel the exhilaration of the dance, a shadow slipped in from the edge of the room. James stood just beyond the crowd, his expression a mix of confusion and something deeper. It was a look she'd never seen on him before, and her heart clenched. Maybe I shouldn't," she hesitated, the energy momentarily drained from her. But Jace caught her hand, pulling her into the spotlight. "You belong here, Clara. We all do." He encouraged, the music igniting anew, the room surged with energy, breaths held, hearts racing. But Clara's eyes narrowed, darting back to James. Why was he still standing apart? What was he thinking? Before she could wrap around her own beating heart, the melody shifted again. "Let us show them what we've got," Jace said, and Clara's soul answered with a surge of determination. But as they launched into a new move, a figure emerged from the shadows. Their face seemed familiar, yet foreign. Clara felt a chill slicing through the warmth of the dance floor. She blinked, trying to make sense of the swirling emotions all rushing in. What did this new presence mean for the dance? The night was far from over, and Clara could sense the storm brewing just around the corner. What implications would this figure bring, and how would it change everything she had just begun to discover? The atmosphere thickened with anticipation as Clara's gaze locked onto the figure who stepped resolutely into the light. It was a young woman dressed casually but with an undeniable presence. Her hair twisted into a bun, a few wild curls escaping, framing her face like a halo. Clara's heart jolted, she recognized her from the building's common area. "Is that," she thought, puzzled. The murmurs around the room heightened as a few other guests noticed the newcomer. Were they seeing what she was seeing? This woman, with the confident stance that cut through the crowd, didn't just belong in this setting, she owned it. "Who is she?" Clara whispered to Jace, still holding her hand, a grounding reminder of their connection. As if sensing the shift in her mood, Jace squeezed her fingers reassuringly. The woman broke into a smile, eyes shimmering with an unmistakable light. "Hey everyone. Sorry to crash the party." She laughed, her voice warm, enveloping the room in a soothing familiarity. "I'm Lena, your friendly neighbor. I heard the music, and how could I resist?" Marcus, recovering from his initial shock, stepped forward, delight sparking in his expression. "Well, the more the merrier, right? Show us what you've got." Clara felt a twinge of nervousness creeping back. Could this newcomer dance? Would she outshine her, yet again drawing the spotlight away as Jace had done? Just as doubt began working its way into Clara's mind, Lena approached the center of the makeshift dance floor, her body moving with a fluidity that was both mesmerizing and confident. Without hesitation, Lena began a series of smooth, rhythmic movements, flowing into a fusion of styles. She didn't simply dance, she became the music, each thrust and swirl coaxing the room into spontaneous cheers. Laughter erupted alongside the clapping of hands, as Marcus and Lily were among the first to join in on the energy. The crowd stepped back, creating a circle around Lena. Clara's heart raced, both enchanted and disheartened by the sudden display. But as she watched Lena shine, something else ignited in her a spark of inspiration. This was a chance for Clara to take a leap, to celebrate rather than compare. Perhaps the light wasn't exclusive after all. Come on, Clara. Let us join her. Jace coaxed, breaking into a beaming smile. Yeah. A chorus of voices erupted from the sidelines. They were all on their feet now, the urge to dance overwhelming. Clara took a deep breath, searching for her own rhythm amid the thrumming energy. She caught Jace's gaze. His eyes were alive with excitement, his belief as tangible as the music thrumming around them. Taking one step forward, then another, Clara finally let go of her fears. She mirrored Lena's energy, her movements awkward at first, but soon embracing her own style. The tension felt like shackles falling away as they weaved their bodies through the music together. Clara found a joyful freedom, a sense of belonging she hadn't felt in ages, but surging beneath the music's surface, Clara couldn't ignore the fact that James still stood off to the side, arms crossed tight against his body, his expression brimming with emotions of his own. The light of the dance floor felt fickle, casting shadows she desperately wished to unravel. Clara turned slightly, her gaze lingering on him, caught in a moment of uncertainty. Was he judgmental? Confused? Or was it envy? She wasn't sure, but the connection she owed to him remained unbroken, vibrating like a wire pulled taut. Clara, look at you. Jace beamed, pulling her attention back to their dance. In that moment, her heart swelled, clashing with a pang of uncertainty the longer she glanced at James. What was it he said before? She wondered. What did he really feel? What did he expect? Dancing amidst the laughter and applause, Clara thought of the shadow of her uncertainties returning, threatening to eclipse the joy of the night. As the music surged, a weight of wonder mixed with dread washed over her. Clara could no longer ignore James's presence, or the questions swirling in her mind. What if, she hesitated, dancing around her thoughts. But could she truly ask him? With the room buzzing around her, she decided she had to find out. Will he join us? She wondered. Or would he keep himself outside, away from the light? What would happen if she approached him next? The answer beckoned her, pulsing beneath the beat. Clara spun in a graceful arc, the energy of the crowd surrounding her like a warm embrace. She felt the music pulsate through her veins, invigorating her spirit, daring her to be bold. Yet, amidst the joyous chaos, James loomed at the periphery, a reminder of the doubts she had fought so hard to overcome. But tonight was different. The silver-haired woman had shown her how to dance not just with her feet but with her heart. Clara locked eyes with Jace, who was now twirling with exuberance, urging her to let go and join him. That flicker of encouragement kindled something inside her. This was her moment, and she could choose to own it. As the beat quickened, Clara took a step toward James, heart thumping in sync with the rhythm. A hush fell over the crowd as they registered her approach. She could feel every eye on her, every heartbeat echoing her fears. But instead of retreating into doubt, she took a deep breath and spoke confidently, James, this isn't just about dancing, it's about joy, freedom, and the connection we all share. James shifted, his nonchalant expression cracking just a fraction. Ha! So you think this changes anything? He shot back, but the edge had softened. A hint of curiosity flickered in his eyes. Clara steadied herself, feeling Jace's supportive presence behind her. It changes everything, she countered, her voice steady and clear, laced with newfound strength. Dancing reminds us that we're more than just the roles life has given us. We're strong, creative souls who deserve to shine no matter where we come from. The stillness that followed her words felt electric, pregnant with potential. She lifted her chin, challenging him to step out of the shadows of judgment, to see the truth of her spirit. The crowd buzzed with anticipation, each person rooted in support for Clara's courage. Jace called out, "Dance with us. Break out of that shell." Encouragement rippled through the room, each chant fueling Clara's resolve. With a deep breath, she twirled again, drawing everyone back into the light, reminding them of the power of community. Let us show him the heart of this dance. As Clara's movements painted joy in the air, she glimpsed James's transformation. His arms gradually unfolded, the rigidity in his posture softening. Something shifted behind his skeptical demeanor, an intrigued fascination playing in his expression as though he were caught in the allure of vulnerability amidst beauty. Maybe I'll give it a shot, he muttered, almost as if convincing himself. The stir within the crowd surged, providing a wave of encouragement. Clara's heart fluttered. Could it be? With a hesitant smile, James took a tentative step forward. The room erupted, laughter and cheers underscoring his step into the unknown. Clara felt a radiant warmth, a wave of hope washing over her. This was the realization of the possibility she had longed for. See. Clara beamed, confidence flooding her veins. All of us belong together, in every move we make. As the music began to swell again, James finally stepped into the circle. Clara could feel the shift, the walls between them crumbled. The murmurings of the crowd filled her with pride. They wanted him to succeed too. Moving toward the beat, he stumbled at first but embraced the chaos, laughter trickling from his lips. And there it was, the moment of connection, the dance binding them, allowing them to share not just their skills but their hearts and experiences. The shadows that had hovered over Clara began to dissipate, replaced by the light of community, acceptance, and raw authenticity. With each twirl, Clara radiated happiness, and with each step, James broke free from the past that restricted him. As the music faded into a soft melody, the feeling of triumph lingered in the air. The applause washed over them all like the gentle embrace of a summer rain. The fears that had once defined their paths began to melt away. They were no longer Maid and Millionaire, but two souls dancing unapologetically, celebrating the journey they had traveled to arrive here. Clara! Emma shouted, breaking the moment of reflective silence. Can we start a dance group together? You should teach everyone how to embrace our light and celebrate life. Clara's heart soared. This was the beginning of something incredible, a chance to inspire others and create a shared space where vulnerability and passion could thrive. Yes. Let us do it. I'd love that. As they all rallied together, laughter and excitement rippling through the room, Clara spotted Marcus, pride shining in his eyes. He stepped up next to her, his voice warm. You've changed everything tonight, Clara. You opened doors in a way I've never seen, showing us what truly matters. With a smile that radiated pure joy, Clara knew this night would echo through the years, a moment that transformed lives and hearts. It wasn't just a dance, it was a celebration of power, of community, and of love, the strongest force binding them all. The connections they had forged shimmered like stars in the night sky, visible to everyone who dared to embrace their own dance, their own truth. Clara felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over her, her heart full. Tonight wasn't just an ending, it marked a new beginning for all of them. And as the crowd surged with energy, Clara beamed at the faces surrounding her, a warmth that signified home. This was her family now. As the last echoes of applause faded, one thing was clear: this journey of transformation had just begun. If you felt that rush of emotion and power, you need to subscribe now. Hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss our future stories that inspire and uplift. Like this video now to show your support and help us reach more hearts. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this transformative experience with at least 5 friends. Let us spread the joy and inspire change together.